Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. Today I'm just going to be sharing with you a basement door DIY project where I'm replacing the doorknob of my basement door with a door handle. And I'm also adding a unique DIY doggy door. I don't like the fact that the doorknob sticks out. So one of the things I'm going to do is replace the actual knob with handles. I called Home Depot. They don't sell anything like it. I searched all over Amazon and this was the best handle that I could find, and it required very detailed modifications, which I will show you throughout the video, and I will timestamp those. So if you want to see specifically replacing the knob for the handle, I will include those timestamps below. But otherwise, if you want to see the whole thing, then I hope you stick around. And I'm using this paint. This paint is by Dwill. I've used it before. It is a really good paint, high quality, very durable, goes on smooth. So I very highly recommend this. And there's a link below where you can purchase this paint at a 10% discount if you use my code SweetLife10. So again, I will share with you the modifications of this door handle. Thank you so much for being here, and thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one. So this is the door. I had already put on some wallpaper. Just peeled some of it off. That was starting to look crazy. We're making a doggy door on this regular door. I'm pretty sure it's hollow inside. I've already cut out the line, or I've drawn out the lines for where we're going to do the cutting. It's this outer line here, and we're going to cut this space out. This door opens into our hallway, and I've just realized that it would be easier to not have a knob there. So something's coming in the mail, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to insert it into this door. I heard it's not standard, but you can make it fit. To fit this in, I just need to notch out just a little on the sides, and I'm just going to mark that. And I'm just going to use a few tools to help me do that. So I'm going to use this multi-tool, and then I'm going to use this flathead screwdriver and this little mallet to knock out the rest of the pieces. And I think this is the last thing I'm going to have to do. So when this piece is in, it needs more room at the bottom to push all the way down. So I'm going to have to give it some more room right in here. That's just about it. I'm pretty sure that's going to be enough. I'm gonna leave it just like that, and it's down enough that I can just put the screws on, and then I'll finish out how I'm gonna attach everything. One of the other modifications that this door requires is making room for this. So this is the piece, the thick metal piece that goes in between the two handles. So this goes here and this goes here. And now for a standard door, you should be able to just have the pieces resting just like that with a connecting piece in the middle. This piece, unfortunately, is much too big. And in the reviews, I found that people have tools to cut this type of metal. I do not. So this is what we're left with if we use it just like this. Too much space here. So I measured how much space is in between there, and I created this little wooden piece that's gonna just sit there and take up the space. It is approximately 1/4 of an inch, and that is the same thickness as 2 of these wooden pieces. And I just glued them together. So I'm going to use these 2 glued pieces of wood to fill in that space. So right here I'm going to trace this out. And then I'm going to find the center point approximately. And I'm going to cut this middle part out. But before I do that, I'm going to cut the circle to make it a little bit smaller, because this is how much needs to be on here, but I want it to come out a little bit on the sides. I'm going to just extend the circle out a little bit, like this much on each side. Yeah, about half, that's a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to go out a 1/2 inch all the way around, and I'm just going to connect this, all these little lines. And then I'm going to use my jigsaw, and I'm going to cut this circle out. And then I'm going to glue it onto the door with some wood glue. And once this is dry, then I'm going to paint the door. Okay, so here it is. Just gonna smooth down some of the edges. I'm gonna glue it down, this side down, since this side is a little rougher, and that's gonna be it. And then while that's drying, I'm going to glue together some of these Jenga pieces, because I'm going to glue them, and then once they're dry, I'm going to cut them down like this and fit them in here so that they fill in some of the gapping. So if you got a chance to check out my previous video, I did a paint job using this paint by Dwill, and I'm using another color paint by them for this door. So this side of the door, as you see, has some wallpaper on it, but I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to paint the other side of it, as well as all the sides. And everything that was in the other box is also in this box that I showed in that video, so I'm not going to share those things again, but they're all there. And here is the paint. The color is blue-gray, or actually gray-blue. Now that the wallpaper is on, it's all smoothed out, I'm gonna take this wood glue here and I'm gonna glue popsicle sticks all across here to close this up, and then I'm gonna glue them down the sides. They're actually not popsicle sticks, they're craft sticks. I'm gonna glue them across here first, and then once they're on and everything, I'm gonna trim these all off. And once those are on, I'll go down the sides. I'll trim off the rounded ends and then just glue them on all the way down on the sides. And what I decided to do was cut down one of these little half round dowels that I already had. And because this edge is so rough right here, I'm gonna just glue this over, hide that. Once everything is dry, I'm gonna do a second coat of paint on the whole door. So the paint covered really nicely. It looks really good. It doesn't even really need a second coat, but because I'm gonna do this bottom part and paint over here, I'm probably just gonna bring the paint up some just to make sure everything is nicely covered. Okay, so the door is all dry. So now that this is done, I'm gonna go ahead and work on the doorknob now. So there's the piece of wood that I attached on the other side, and there's the hole in the middle. I'm gonna use this drill bit. This is a 5/8 drill bit, and I'm gonna make the hole with that because that should be just enough space. So let's just see what happens when we... All right, so now I have the door turned around to the other side, and I'm going to insert this piece now, and it should be in line with the circle. Looks like it's pretty much right in the center, and this is where the holes go for the screws to connect these two pieces together. So here's the bolt. This is where it goes. The bolt goes in there, and then this thing, it fits in here. So there, that's how it works. I want to make sure the screw lines are correct. So I'm going to take it out of the back like that, and then I'm going to mark the holes here and drill in where those need to go. So we're just about done, and here is the last modification that is needed for this door handle. And that is, they give you this extra long screw that goes through and holds the two plates on. And I'm pretty sure they make it like this purposely because we have to cut this to shorten it. We have to cut right there on that space. I already did one, so I know it can be done, and I did it by hand. And I use this thing. This is a wire cutter anyway, right in here. that is where it's going to cut this metal piece. So I'm going to show you how it can be done. I don't have any power tools that will cut this, so I'm just doing it in real time. I'm just squeezing and turning it, and then it just snaps off. Perfect. So this is the length that we need to go through the door that I have. I'm pretty sure it's standard, but I'll measure the thickness of my door and put it in the description so you can see what it is. And we're gonna attach the plates now. Now I'll just insert these. And then we'll just take the two caps. I'll take one first and then line it up here and insert it right through here. So the whole time we're putting these through and connecting them inside, this piece is pulled in, the handles are turned to the side because we're keeping the screws hidden underneath the handle when it's in its natural resting position. So this is what it looks like on this side. Turned slanted so we can get to the screws. And here it is over here. And then in order to really tighten it though, we have to hold the screwdriver on either side because there's nothing to grip onto. So I'll hold it tight on that side and turn it on this side. If you over tighten the screws, the handle will be too stiff and it won't naturally fall into its place. So just loosen the screws a bit and everything should be fine. So I never did add the screws here. I'm gonna just put those in. Okay, so what am I using for the door of the doggy door, you might ask? Just using a piece of styrofoam. I'm going to cut it down. It's going to be 17 inches tall and 14 inches wide. So I'm going to cut that out from this board, and then I'm going to use some glue and glue a piece of wallpaper onto it, and then I will show you what the next steps are after that. So I'm going to glue together 3 sets of popsicle sticks, and those will be lined up here, and I'll do the same thing on this side, and then I will glue this onto here. This will be where it slides down in. I'm going to glue these on though with hot glue because I'm gluing wood to paper and not directly on wood. I don't think it really matters. So the next thing I'm going to do is glue the bottom. Once this slides down, I want to have a stopper down at the bottom. So I'm just going to cut this one and have the rounded edge going this way and the flat side right here. And make the same cut on the other side. And I'm going to use the wood glue to glue these on. And I'm going to use a combination of wood glue and hot glue to attach these sticks here. Okay, so I did a slight modification. I had to, this thing wasn't fitting in too good. So I took it apart and I added a 4th popsicle stick to each of these underneath here. And then I went back and glued these on. So those are done. And then I was gonna make holes in this little door thing in order to make a handle. But instead, because of course it is just a styrofoam board, it is starting to turn a little bit. So I figured this would be almost like a way to straighten that out, and it will act as a handle at the same time. So I'm just going to use hot glue to attach that. It will serve two purposes. So I'm just going to glue that on, and then it'll be all set. And then finally I'll be able to put the door onto the door frame. Okay, so I went and added this other half round dowel to the bottom to give it a little bit more support. So just like I did at the top, now there it is at the bottom. So here is the final paint job on the inside of the door. Here's the doorknob, or the door handle, not really a knob anymore, but that's looking good. And then when you come over here, of course, all you have to do is add this plate on. Most standard doors, I believe, have like a rounded piece for this part, so I did have to square it out to make room for the little piece that comes out on the door now. So that's the final adjustment that's needed. And then I just added a little bit of, you know, caulking and fancy stuff around the edge there. And then the other thing I did was add this little string to this, because when this is open, it, you know, I'll just lift it by this most likely, but when it's up, just to have somewhere to store it, I added a little hook right here to put that on when the little doggy door is open.